Oggendmanna.
Goeiemôre almal. Ek hoop julle het 'n goeie week gehad. Dis vir my vanoggend 'n voorreg om vir leraar Pieter van Rensburg vorentoe te nooi. Ag, dankie. André, ekskuus maar. Ekskuus. Martinus se oom. Ja. En dis vir ons 'n voorreg vandag om hom by ons te hê. Hy gaan die doopdiens vir ons waarneem, maar nou eers het hulle 'n baie interessante projek wat hulle met ons wil deel. En ja, die vloer is joune.
Baie dankie, leraar Walter. Baie bly om dat julle hier te wees, geliefdes. Ek dink ons was hier so 4 jaar gelede. And I'm very glad that my wife Margaret is also here. They looked after her to give her the earplugs for the translation. Ons gaan met julle ietsie deel vanoggend. Ek het vir jare gewerk as 'n dominee en so 'n paar jaar gelede het ons baie video hierdie ding. So ek moet stil staan. Ek moet stil staan. Okay. Ek is jammer. So omtrent 4-5 jaar gelede het ek 'n nuwe bediening begin met vlugtelinge. En toe vra die kerk vir my om deeltyds as kapelaan te werk met Adra. En die res van die tyd het werk ek met vlugtelinge van Sirië, hulle is Christene, Irak wat ook Christene is, en van Iran wat moslims is. En ek is so bly, die leraar was so goed, hy het gesê ons kan vir julle 'n bietjie iets deel met 'n video, en daarna sal ons 'n bietjie gesels. So hierdie video het hulle geproduseer om vir die ander kerkmense idees te gee hoe ons gaan uitreik na ander mense. En so as ons Jacques, as ons na hierdie video nou kan kyk asseblief, baie dankie hoor.
The Apostles' Vision explores the New Testament letters to discover key principles used by the apostles in multiplying disciples and planting churches to cultivate God's kingdom movement. Even for Paul, the message was simple. Jesus died but is alive. He has ascended but is present by his Spirit, and he is coming again. And the vision was clear that there be no place left where this good news had not been shared. Our cities are going up, our suburbs are expanding, our mission challenge is huge. But the simple, reproducible methods that Jesus lived and taught relate to all cultures and all circumstances. His vision and methods shaped the mission of the early church and are practical and effective today. In this first episode, we explore the big movement idea of following relational streams. Jesus said, "Go and make disciples of all ethne." We call this the Great Commission ethne principle. Go and make disciples in every nation, tribe, language, and people, or in all relational streams.
This is the most exciting thing we've ever done in ministry. It just is a snowball. It's hard to keep up with it.
I was a pastor at local churches, and I always loved working at local churches. A few years ago, some refugees came walking to the church. We invited them home, and we started to build a relationship with them. This relationship got bigger and bigger, and we started to meet some other people.
We're not just inviting them into our world, we're part of their world.
Because of the war, it was very, very hard to stay in my country. Two Fadi's friends, they killed by ISIS because they are Christian. We were very worried about our children. That's why it's better to go outside to keep my children safe.
2011, the war started. Suddenly, we tried to stay in Syria. We said that the future, maybe 1 year and everything will finish, but the problem, it's grow up. We moved to Damascus, and in Damascus, a bomb came to our neighbor house.
It was a hard time for us. We don't want to leave our country. But when I look at everything, I can't imagine any future for my children.
I work 2 days a week at ADRA. And what is wonderful is I'm able to connect with a lot of refugees. And then they would talk with me, and usually they would already know about our group. Oh, I know about yous. Oftentimes when I'm there at ADRA, I tell Margaret, instead of having a smoko, I go walking around the block, and then I'll bump into people that I know. And I'll talk with them there. I've got to be there mixing on the street to meet with people.
It's been a real epiphany for me as far as helping others, the joy that you get back.
We are originally from Syria. When we came to Australia, late 2017, my cousin Michael has been in Australia almost 6 months before us. And he said for us, we will introduce you for one person, his name Andre, and he's a very supportive person. So he brought Andre to us and visited us in our unit and introduced Andre to my family, and we become all as a one family.
At the beginning, when we arrived to Brisbane, we stayed at our friend's home. They were Maram and Wissam. They were like a second family for us here.
We came to Australia as a permanent resident. We were at birthday party for our friend's son, and we met there Andre and Margaret. Having a friend in Australia was very good point for us because we have like a new support, new families here. Many of our friends have become part of our new family.
For 3 years, we stayed without any Australian friend until we met Andre and Margaret.
We met Andre and Margaret through Maram and Wissam, and now we feel like a new family.
And it's just growing. Their friends, and then they introduce their friends. It must have been the way the early church multiplied.
In following these relational streams, Andre and Margaret, with Paul and Linda, are following the missional movement principles that Jesus lived by. Their engagement is incarnational, fully entering the lives of others, apostolic, being sent by God, and messianic, living as God's anointed presence in their expanding new family of faith. People from traditional and highly liturgical forms of religion are finding fresh personal faith in Jesus through connecting and sharing faith in relational streams.
When you're part of people's lives, you have a lot of fun, but that also brings with it, sad times, tough times.
Last January, I was pregnant and I lost my daughter. It was after 30 weeks pregnancy. It was very hard. We were in a bad situation, but the positive things that was all these people, they surround us and they help us.
A huge thank for this family, Andre, Paul, Marguerite, Linda.
I believe that God uses our wounds, and through our own hurt, we can minister to others. Jesus was known as the man of sorrows and acquainted with our grief. And I think we need to be more those kind of people. We are moved by things that would move Jesus. Whatever we do, we're trying to help people to be integrated into our spiritual life. They love being part of God's people.
I was riding my bike one day and I came across this place here. I usually don't come up this street, and I said, wow, this house is for sale. No one was around, so I snuck in the backyard and had a look. I said, man, wouldn't this be a great place for all our parties that we have for these people? And it's reasonably central because we have people on the north side of the river and on the south side of the river. The dream was to have, so we can have groups regularly. This new family, they need friends, but they need more than that. They also need something that's going to grow their soul. And we go to their funerals, we go to their children's baptisms, at their churches. When they hurt, we hurt. When they're happy, we get a kick.
They want us to share these spiritual events, these important events in their lives. It really is a very close relationship.
When I was in Syria, she asked me, why you don't go to church, why you don't pray? I don't believe it. But when I came to Australia, I feel my heart open with the church, open with Jesus.
We've actually helped them see that there's a loving God who's prepared to walk the road with them.
We are there to help them grow closer to Jesus Christ, but they just love being part of our family.
هاي العائلة الجديدة هن معطاء للعالم كله، هن محبين للعالم كله، وهن مثل تلاميذ المسيح.
أندري وبول وليندا هن قائدين عم بمشوا مثل تلاميذ المسيح، عمال يفرجونا الطريق لبين لنوصل.
I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. I know that I am protected by them always. I am happy to let my children grow up with this faith.
My son Jad went to the camp last year, and when he came back, he said, Dad, this is the best week for me in my life. Yeah, Jesus said, knock the door and I will open. If we follow Jesus' way, it's very good.
So God uses people in our lives to give us strength, and we're blessed abundantly.
Baie opgewonde om hierdie geleentheid te hê om met hierdie mense te werk. Ek het moslims al gedoop. Ek het nog nooit dit voor in my lewe beleef nie. En ek glo dit is deur die werk van die Heilige Gees, nie die werk van ons nie. Ons moet net onsself beskikbaar maak, want ons sien die Heilige Gees maak 'n deur oop, dan moet ons dit deurloop. So wat doen ons met hierdie mense? Jy weet, in die begin help ons hulle, want hulle moet insettel, hulle het dalk klere nodig of kos nodig, maar wat hulle meer nodig het is vriende. Almal wil belang, behoort, dis die woord, belang. Almal wil behoort aan 'n familie. En dis wat ons vir hulle verskaf, en hulle het eintlik ons ingeneem met hulle familie. So ons gaan na baie dinge, ons het al klaar, net eergister kry ek 'n WhatsApp boodskap, sê hulle vir my, ons moet gaan na 'n spesiale program, wanneer ons terugkom, een van hulle word 'n burger, en hulle gaan 'n partytjie hou, en dan gaan ons party. Een van die dinge wat as jy die Nuwe Testament bestudeer, Jesus was altyd betrokke met mense. En Jesus het of met mense geëet, of hy het gepraat van etery, of hy het na 'n ete gegaan. Dit was baie meer informeel. Ons is so bevoorreg, ons doen baie Bybelstudies, maar 'n baie informele manier, wanneer ons saamkom in die aand, sal ons saam eet, saam gesels, saam lag, en dan het ons ook partykeer groter dienste waar ons die Here aanbid, en dan doen ons dit in Arabiers, en ons doen dit in Farsi, wat Persië, van Persië is. So, dis net 'n bietjie insig wat ons doen. Margaret, we're very glad to have Margaret here, and she's just going to share with us a few little thoughts. We don't want to go too long because we know we've got someone's prepared the Sabbath school lesson for us, and we're looking forward to it. And we do not want to take the time away from the church service. Maybe the pastor gets very angry, and we want to have a good time when we have the baptism and celebrate. Thank you very much, Margaret.
Good morning. It's really good to be with you again. It's 4 years, and my Afrikaans has only got worse since then, so really sorry. You know, the interesting thing for us is that, you know, we're now 4 years older. You know, we're getting towards the official end of our working life, and you know, it's a really interesting thing, because we've had to really think about what is ministry? You know, what does God require of us? Now, you know, and that's a question, you know, we all ask of ourselves at different times in our life. What does God want from me when I'm young? What career does God want me to do? And it was a few years ago, I was thinking this, what does God want from me? And I found some amazing verses, and they're so simple, and you would know them all so well. And I'm going to get somebody to read it in Afrikaans, because my Afrikaans is a bietjie vrot. It's Mark 12 and verse 30, and you know it well. So if you could read it for me nice and loud, that'd be super. What does the Lord require of me? 12:30. Thanks. If you can stand up and face everybody.
And you must love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind and all your strength.
And you know, one day, you know, our lives on this earth are going to be finished, and I kind of thought, well, is it how many people we've had in our house for meals? Is it, you know, what does it mean? How many times I've taken a Sabbath school lesson? What does it mean? What does God require of me? And it's simple. God requires that I love him with my whole heart, and I love my neighbour. I love the people that come into my life. So over the last few years, as we've been involved with the refugees, we've also re-looked at what was the early church all about? What did they do that was different? Because the early church was not an organised church until about 300-400 years after Christ. So they were meeting in houses, and so how did they gather? How did they spread the love of God in their lives? And I think that's the most, it's a big question for each one of us as we face life. I've got really big print here, so it's not really pages. We did a talk a few weeks ago to at a retirement village, so I went for the big print to kind of fit in with them. One of the things that is really important to me is, we live, and you know this, no matter what country you come from, we live in a world of disconnection. We live in a world where people, whether it's because of social media, we're disconnected. We're more absorbed in our devices than we are in the people that are sitting next to us. We live in a world where people don't know other people that well. And this is where church becomes really important, because you've got a community, you've got people that are interested in each other. But the big question is, how can I make a difference in the world that I'm in? And it's actually been laid out in front of us. I feel that God kind of showed us a way of life that was totally different to everything we've ever done. We're associating with people of totally different Christian backgrounds, and yet we can encourage them to have a close walk with God, and they've allowed us into their life, and we're friends, and we can, as you saw in the video, we can cry with them, we can laugh with them, we share food with them. I draw a line at their Arabic coffee. It's a bit wild. It's like thick. It's not nice. So I just want you to think about, you've got your community here, but who is there on the edge of your community? Who's your neighbour? Who do you need to know? Who's not connected in the way they should be? Who needs friendship? Who needs to sit and put their feet under your table and share your meal with you? And when you eat together, you actually talk about things that you would never talk about otherwise. You're just getting really down to normal, everyday stuff, We're saying we're interested in you. So just like to encourage you that no matter where you are, who you are, you can make a difference. We can be friends with the people in our life, and it's actually loads of fun. God asks us to walk a road that is not a miserable road. It's an incredibly happy road, and we're really glad that we can just share a little bit of what we're doing. God opened the door for us. Don't know why He chose us, but He did. But we love what we're doing, and we feel incredibly blessed to be part of it. Thanks so much.